There is a growing environmental justice movement in communities of color across the country. Places like Flint, Michigan and Jackson, Mississippi with their water issues and the so-called Cancer Alley in Louisiana have all made headlines and gotten the attention of environmental advocates.
And right here in the Tampa Bay area, residents in one St. Petersburg community are calling on environmental experts to examine odor concerns in their neighborhood. Spectrum Bay News 9 reporter Sandra Weathers has more as we begin our three-part series, Justice for All, the Right to Clean Air.
8 months ago, I started looking into environmental concerns here in St. Petersburg in the Charles Park neighborhood. It's a predominantly Black neighborhood, home to thousands of people, but it's also home to an industrial complex. And there's a smell here that you can't miss. It's something people here say they've been concerned about for decades.
Come on. Count how many llamas there are.
When you walk into Caleb Benning's home in the Charles Park neighborhood, prepare to have your senses activated and your heart melted.
That's you. That's me.
With 3 children living here, there is no absence of sound, sight, or touch in this house. But then there's the smell.
I live by an oil plant and it has a smell of gasoline and it's very strong. You can smell it in the house.
It's an odor that's concerning for this single mother and nursing student.
When I started smelling the gas, it did because I was worried, like, is something burning? What am I breathing? Is it toxic? Can it affect my health? Can it affect my children's health? Because they're still developing.
Benning says she can't afford to move and believes a quick solution isn't likely.
After a while of talking to my neighbors, because most of my neighbors been here for like 30, 40, 50 years, they always been smelling that smell for years.
According to Pinellas County records, the county received more odor complaints from the Childs Park area in the last year than in years past. The complaints ranging from fuel to chemicals and rotten eggs. Brother John Muhammad is all too familiar with the issue.
The conversation about the smell is not new. It's been murmurings and complaints within the neighborhood for years. But it basically just became like one of those things that's just normalized.
For Brother John, this is personal. He grew up here in this predominantly Black community, and up until recently, he served as the Childs Park Neighborhood Association president. He credits those latest numbers from the county to a campaign he launched in 2022 called Smell Something, Say Something, encouraging his neighbors to report odor complaints.
When we had a few neighbors who said they couldn't sit on their porches because the smell is so strong at certain points in the day. And then we had one resident who actually left her home because I guess what was coming into the vents started to get on her walls.
In that case, the resident says she got an inspection and eventually moved back into her home. These reports from the city dating back 10 years shows people here called the fire department to report concerns of gas and fuel odors.
You know, the first thing is call the city, and then the city would say, well, it's not us. You know, you got to call the county. And when we called the county, they were like, okay, well, you have to fill out this form.
We checked, and there are 5 companies in the industrial complex that have air permits from the county. There's a concrete plant, a chrome plating company, and the city's water reclamation facility operating as a bioenergy company. The other 2 handle oil or gas. Halco Environmental Services recycles used oil and removes hazardous waste. And JKT Petroleum is a fuel storage and transfer company. All are located in the middle of this neighborhood near homes, an elementary school, and a YMCA.
This is going to be a long-term fight. Like, it's not something that's going to happen overnight.
More than 1 million African Americans face a cancer risk above the EPA's level of concern. That's according to a study by the NAACP and the Clean Air Task Force. In that study called Fumes Across the Fence Line, researchers found that Black people are 75% more likely to live near industrial facilities in what's called fence line communities. Those are the kind of facts and figures that get the attention of environmental justice experts like Christian Wells.
The environmental justice movement really started in the 1980s when communities across the U.S. started to realize that the vast majority of environmental hazards are cited in Black, Indigenous, Hispanic, and communities with people of color.
Wells is an anthropologist and professor at the University of South Florida. He also serves as the director of the Center for Brownfields Research and Redevelopment. where they examine environmental racism and focus on environmental justice. And while he hasn't worked on the Childs Park case specifically, he is familiar with the area.
Right now, in the case of Childs Park, it's really about documenting that there is a problem.
Wells says his work brings him to communities similar to this one.
Most of the homes in that part of the community were built in the 40s and 50s, and the industry was really, the industrial area really started in the early 1970s. And so it's very clear in this case, there's not a chicken and egg debate. It's clear in this case that industry was sited there on purpose.
That's his opinion based on this redlining map of St. Petersburg.
Redlining is that process in the 1930s and early 40s supported by the federal government, where the Homeowners Loan Corporation would go into major urban areas throughout the U.S. and grade certain neighborhoods from A to D, A being the best, what you should invest in, and D being hazardous or the worst.
This is how Childs Park is described on the redlining map.
It says this area adjoins Negro Area D7 on the west. Hence, the eastern portion of D14 does not contain a particularly high grade of white occupant. And it goes on to recommend that properties, if acquired in this area, should be sold and you should not invest in this community.
Redlining was rendered illegal by the 1968 Fair Housing Act, but Wells says the impacts have lingered. For those living in places like Childs Park without a lot of housing options, he offers this advice.
I tell my students there's a difference between optimism and hope. An optimistic person thinks that things are going to work out, and so they sit back and wait. A hopeful person knows that things aren't going in their favor, so they roll up their sleeves and do something about it.
You ready?
Yes. Back in the Childs Park neighborhood, Benning is having a hard time with optimism and hope. She just wants the industrial park gone.
In my opinion, I think there shouldn't be any oil plants in a residential community. Like, why is there, I don't know, oil plant in the middle of where people live at?
Experts say not all bad smells are toxic. So is the air here harmful? And is there a potential health risk? And if there are potential harmful pollutants in the air, how far can they travel? Coming up next, we'll hear from a resident here in Childs Park raising some serious health concerns in our special Justice for All, the Right to Clean Air. In St. Petersburg, Sandra Weathers, Spectrum News.
For more stories from our Justice for All series, visit baynews9.com or the Spectrum News app. You can download the app for free by scanning this QR code. It'll take you straight to the App Store.
5:39, we head back to Mike Plain, the Weather Center. Here's a live look at our weather cam shot in Curtis Dixon Park in downtown Tampa. Some folks enjoying the weather out there, and Mike, some really interesting clouds too. Some new thunderstorms have popped up right over the bay too, so we'll look at that. But yeah, it's very unstable, and almost like it would be further into June, July, and August. And so these showers and thunderstorms are popping up around the area. Now let's go to our St. Petersburg camera. It looks very stormy here around St. Petersburg and out in the bay. It's 86 degrees right now, and one thunderstorm has gone up that we'll look at in a second. The wind's gusting to 18, and yet you would not want to be out there on one of those tiny little sailboats right now. Good that they get to safe harbor. That's on the Crown Automotive Group camera in downtown St. Petersburg. Here's Klystron 9 right now. So the earlier thunderstorms are gone, and now we're just seeing a scattering of stuff popping up here and there, and everything tries to move to the east, but it doesn't really move all that far, and then it kind of collapses. So we saw very heavy rain earlier today around Boyette and Riverview, and even half-inch size hail up here in Riverview in Hillsborough County earlier. Now this storm has just gone up, and it is right over the bay. So if you're in downtown St. Pete, you can see this. If you're in Ruskin, you can look to the west and see this. It's quite heavy, but it is all over water right now. We'll keep an eye on that as it's just gone up. That came out of the outflow boundary. Is that the St. Pete cam? That's okay. There it is. That's the storm right there from our Klystron 9 camera looking back. This is downtown St. Pete looking back towards that one storm. So it's got some hard tops on it here, cauliflower looking tops. And so that one is just going up. So that storm came off of, thank you, Brian. That storm came off the outflow boundary from the earlier storms here, and that outflow boundary set off a new storm right over the bay. So we'll watch this and see if it gets any heavier. Meanwhile, to the south, big storms in Manatee County, eastern Manatee County over towards the east, all the way over to Avon Park. Those are strong storms north of Sebring as well. Polk County,
You've had persistent rain in northeastern Polk County for a while now, along 27, and then a scattering of showers and a few thunderstorms out there. There's one over Lakeland right now. Here's the lightning detector, and we're seeing just a few strikes over the bay. Lots of lightning in eastern Manatee County over into Highlands County right now. And our temperatures in the rain-cooled air here, it's in the low 70s, but where it hasn't rained, it's in the upper 80s around the bay, and it feels like it's in the mid-90s with the high humidity. So as we head through the evening, pop-up showers and a few thunderstorms around. Some of them might last a while, maybe 9 o'clock or so. Then those fall apart. And as we head through the day tomorrow, we start out dry, but then around 1 or 2 o'clock, thunderstorms could form again. So your rain chances are running 60-70% again for tomorrow. So scattered showers and thunderstorms tonight, low 73 in the muggy air. And tomorrow, another good chance of showers and thunderstorms, but then things begin to change as we head towards the weekend. I'll have more on that shortly. But first, Klystron 9.
So you can save even more on our huge selection on sale now. Like this Shays sectional, just $9.99 or $19 a month interest-free. Or this leather living room, save on rooms like this. Or this, just $11.95 or $22 a month. Shop room by room and get low sale prices like this with 55-month interest-free financing during the Rooms to Go Memorial Day sale.
Hey, is that a JetBlue Plus card? When you buy me with your card, you can earn 2 times points at eligible grocery stores towards your next trip. And as a card member, you also get a free check bag.
I love that. Wait, who invented mini cupcakes anyway, though? Isn't a cupcake already a smaller version of a cake?
Whoa, I never thought about it that way. Weird. Earn 60,000 bonus points with the JetBlue Plus card. Apply today.
I am blind, but I need not see. I know this road is there for me.
The choice is clear, Mazda of Clearwater. Mazda of Clearwater.
Tyrone Square Mazda is now Mazda of Clearwater. It's the grand opening of our brand new state-of-the-art facility. Get 0% APR for 60 months on select new models. New building, new name, same dedicated team. Mazda of Clearwater.
For the car you want, a new dealership.